When the parents of the three male leads came to the orphanage to adopt a child, I saw the bullet comments. This is where the story begins. The female lead is about to be taken home and will have all sorts of interactions with the male leads. When Yen is a born troublemaker, always fighting with everyone in the orphanage, yet, at this moment, she pretends to be well-behaved and innocent. Ironically, the adoptive parents just want a good daughter. The male leads later become a top star, a film emperor, and a CEO. Who wouldn't say the female lead is a winner in life? I covered my arm, scarred with numerous wounds from the female lead when Yen, with my sleeve. Timidly, I walked forward. Mom, Dad, can you take me with you? Seeing my actions, the barrage went crazy. Where did this cannon fodder come from? How dare she steal the spotlight? Isn't she the little mute who's always bullied by the female lead? She can actually speak. Looking closely, she's quite pitiful. Not only was her food snatched by the female lead, but she's also constantly beaten up. There's probably not a single patch of good skin left on her body. I smoothed down my somewhat dry hair, a result of malnutrition. I try my best to put on a smile, looking at the slightly surprised expressions of the Gu couple in front of me. I'm very well behaved. I'm not picky with food, and I don't make a fuss. I can do a lot of household chores, and I can also give massages to Mom and Dad. As the words fell, the elegant Mrs. Gu showed a look of reluctance. She crouched down slightly, her gaze level with mine. A faint scent of gardenia lingered at the tip of my nose. What's your name, dear child? She asked gently, looking into those loving eyes. I suddenly missed my mother very much. Tears uncontrollably welled up in my eyes. I choked up and said, Nianchu, my name is Li Nianchu. Mrs. Gu held me and comforted me for a long time. He glanced back at Mr. Gu, the imposing Mr. Gu instantly understood the hint. In a low voice, he instructed the orphanage director, who was standing by with an apologetic smile. I'll take this girl, of course. We'll get the paperwork started right away. The dean nodded and bowed. At that moment, a trembling voice came from behind me. Wait a moment. Several people turned around at the sound, when Yan's eyes held a mix of shock and anger. But she suppressed it forcefully, revealing a sweet smile. Mr. Gu, Mrs. Gu, I am more capable than her, and I am also more obedient. Could you adopt me? Her hands were clasped behind her back, shrinking back unnaturally. The barrage of comments is scrolling chaotically. Ha 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 ha. Does the female lead even believe what she's saying? She's still clutching a dead rabbit in her hand. She's definitely capable, though. She can handle all three male leads, sleeping with one after the other. It all depends on whether the plot can be straightened out. How can this cannon fodder supporting female character replace the female lead? Mrs. Gu slightly furrowed her willow leaf eyebrows. I instinctively grabbed her hand, afraid she might waver. She held my hand in return and said softly to Wen Yen, we adopted our daughter with the intention of cherishing her as a precious treasure. Since we've decided to adopt Nianchu, I want to give her all my love and won't bring any other girls home. You're so pretty. You can wait patiently for another family. After saying that, she took my hand and led me out. I turned my head to look at Wen Yen, who was standing there in a daze. She stared at me with a sinister gaze. On the night I arrived at the Gu family villa, Mrs. Gu instructed the nanny to prepare a table full of dishes. I also met the three male leads mentioned in the barrage. The eldest son, Gu Huaiyan, a high school sophomore, has a cool and aloof demeanor. He only gave me a brief, indifferent glance when I entered, then went back to reading his geography magazine, as if everything around him was of no concern. Big brother is still so cold and aloof, but he's also the most protective of his wife later on. Woo, my heart aches. This should have been the heroine's first encounter with him. The second son, Gu Tinglan, is in his second year of junior high school, a sunny boy with smiling eyes. He smiled and handed me a chocolate. Hello, little sister. Ah. Little Angel Tinglan, the benchmark of a warm-hearted guy, the youngest son, Gu Yubei, is the same age as me and in the 5th grade of elementary school. He crossed his arms and looked me up and down. He snorted without any courtesy. Where did this bean sprout come from? Pfft, the best actor has been this sarcastic since he was little. I lowered my head, instinctively shrinking back and pressing close to Mrs. Gu. Mrs. Gu wrapped her arm around my shoulder and said gently, don't be afraid. From now on, this will be your home. Then she turned a stern face toward the three brothers. This is your younger sister Nianchu. From now on, you must take good care of her, understand? Gu Huaiyan turned a page of his book and let out an almost inaudible, Gu Tinglan smiled brightly. Don't worry, Mom, I've always wanted a sister the most. Gu Yubei pursed his lips and said nothing, yet his eyes kept darting glances in my direction. During dinner, I looked at the exquisite dishes spread across the table, feeling somewhat at a loss. Mrs. Gu kept putting food on my plate, piling it up like a small mountain. Eat more, Nianchu, you're too thin. I took small bites, savoring each grain of rice. Gu Yubei suddenly tapped the edge of my bowl with his chopsticks, producing a crisp sound. Hey, little bean sprout, are you really good at pretending to be pitiful? Otherwise, how did you trick my parents into bringing you home? The table fell silent instantly. Mr. Gu and Mrs. Gu frowned simultaneously. Gu Tinglan kicked him under the table. Gu Huaiyan also looked up. My heart tightened. The barrage of comments promptly appeared, as expected of third brother, sharp-tongued and sharp-eyed. He saw through the cannon fodder female supporting characters act so quickly. Expose her. Bring the female lead back. Don't let the original plotline collapse. I bit my lip, my eyes quickly reddening, yet stubbornly. I didn't let the tears fall. I gently rolled up one sleeve, revealing the already scabbed but still fierce-looking scratches and bruises on my arm. I'm not pretending. My voice was choked with tears, small and aggrieved. I just don't want to always be hungry. I don't want the blanket to be wet when I sleep. Madame Gu gasped sharply, her heart aching as she grasped my wrist. Mr. Gu's expression darkened. His gaze toward Gu Yubei was filled with warning. Gu Huaiyan, who had been silent all along, set down his chopsticks. His voice was flat but carried weight. Gu Yubei, apologize. Gu Yubei stared at my arm, stunned. A flicker of panic and guilt flashed across his face, yet he still stubbornly insisted. I didn't know. Apologize, Gu Huaiyan repeated, his tone leaving no room for doubt. Gu Yubei pursed his lips and reluctantly whispered, I'm sorry. In the evening, it was Mrs. Gu, my mother, who slept with me. Her pleasant scent enveloped me as she gently patted my back. Nianchu, once the enrollment procedures are settled, you'll go to school with Yubei. Is it okay? I nodded obediently. Yes, thank you, Mom. So this is what it feels like to be loved by family. I'm so happy. Mom looked moved and hugged me tightly. Bullet comments are floating before my eyes again. You're feeling proud of yourself for stealing someone else's place. Mrs. Gu's gentleness is directed toward the identity of a daughter. If she knew how scheming you are, would she still want you? I bury my face into the fragrant pillow, blocked out those sharp words. It's okay, I told myself. No matter what, I will do everything I can to stay in this home. Early the next morning, I got up early, folded the blanket and tiptoed downstairs. The nanny is busy in the kitchen, and I whisper a request to learn how to make breakfast. I want to make it for Mom and Dad in the future. Before the nanny could speak, the barrage of comments grew anxious. It's starting, the flattery and good behavior package. The female lead, Wen Yan, disdains such tactics. She relies on her personal charm. TSK, she really knows how to make a scene, making our Yan look like she can't do any work. At that moment, Gu Huaiyan, who had just returned from his morning run, stopped at the kitchen door. His cool gaze fell upon me. I timidly lowered my head. Without saying a word, he turned and went upstairs. But at breakfast, he pushed his untouched cup of hot milk in front of me. Bullet comment, bro, wake up. This is an imposter. This glass of milk was supposed to be the beginning of the female lead returning home after getting caught in the rain. With the older brother appearing cold but actually caring, it's over. It's over. The plotline has really gone off track. I lowered my eyes and whispered, thank you, big brother. A pleased smile appeared on Mom's face as she gently urged, Nianchu, drink up quickly, you're still growing. I picked up the cup and took small sips. The warm liquid slid down my throat, carrying the rich aroma unique to dairy products. It was a taste of reassurance I had never experienced in the orphanage. Gu Yubei snorted beside me, muttering, flatterer, Gu Yubei. Mom shot him a warning look. He made a nonchalant face and buried his head in his meal. A few days later, the enrollment procedures were completed. Gu Yubei and I were in the same grade but different classes. On the first day of school, Mom prepared matching new backpacks and stationery for us. Gu Yubei glanced disdainfully and grabbed his own before running off first. The Gu family's car was parked some distance away from the school gate. This was my mother's idea. She didn't want us to draw too much attention. I got out of the car with my backpack. But Gu Yubei was already nowhere to be seen. Oh, the young master isn't happy to walk with the imposter. Normal. In the original plot, the female lead wins over the sharp-tongued younger brother with her personal charm at this point. This imposter just isn't on that level. I took a deep breath, tightened my grip on my backpack strap, and walked toward the school gate alone. When school let out, a light drizzle began to fall from the sky. I didn't bring an umbrella, so I stood under the eaves of the teaching building, waiting for the rain to stop. Students were picked up in 2s and 3s, and the surroundings gradually grew quiet. Hey, Bean Sprout, a familiar voice, tinged with a hint of impatience, sounded from behind. I turn around. Gu Yubei, with a school bag slung over one shoulder and a black umbrella in hand, is frowning as he looks at me. Mom called and said it's raining, so she asked me to check if you didn't bring an umbrella. He turns his face away, his tone stiff. Let's go, the car is still waiting over there. The barrage paused briefly, then a few comments floated by. Tisk, actions speak louder than words. Was the film emperor this awkward even as a kid? Kind of cute, isn't he? My heart stirred slightly, and I whispered, thank you. He didn't respond, just opened the umbrella and strode forward. Yet he deliberately slowed his pace so I could keep up. The umbrella wasn't large, leaving half of his shoulder exposed and getting a bit wet. In the car, he kept looking out the window the whole way, not speaking to me, but when we got out of the car, he moved quickly. He stepped out first, then held an umbrella and waited for me outside the car door. Mom came out to greet us, and when she saw us standing together, a smile spread across her face. Little Bei is so well behaved. Knowing how to take care of his little sister, Gu Yubei turned his head away and scoffed disdainfully, but the tips of his ears slowly turned red. After starting school, I became increasingly sensible. I wake up earliest every day and learn to make simple breakfasts from the nanny. Then I set the table and sit quietly at the dining table waiting for everyone. I eat all my food carefully, even the tiniest bits of leftover garlic. When Mr. Gu comes home from work, I run over to hand him his slippers. While Mrs. Gu was rubbing her temples, I stood on tiptoe to help massage them. I was like a plant starved of sunlight, desperately absorbing every possible bit of warmth. I also carefully observed everyone's expressions. Usually, the study in the Gu family became the place where I spent most of my time. For no other reason, the smartest Gu Huaiyan was there. He wasn't a man of many words, most of the time. We each occupied a corner of the desk. He read his finance books, and I did my elementary school homework. The only sounds in the air were the rustling of pages turning and the scratching of pen tips, until I frowned at a complex word problem, unconsciously poking several ink dots on the scratch paper with my pen. Look here, a cool, clear voice suddenly sounded above my head. I looked up and met Gu Huaiyan's indifferent gaze. He had somehow appeared behind me, leaning slightly forward, his slender finger pointing at my draft paper. Set up the unknown variables and form a system of linear equations with two variables. He took my pen and wrote two formulas on the blank paper beside it. His breath brushed past my ear, carrying the clean scent of soap. Bro, what are you doing? Why does a cannon fodder get personal guidance from the big brother? This doesn't make sense. Calm down. The big brother is just highly responsible and can't stand fools. Got it? He lowered his gaze and asked, before I could answer. The study door was pushed open with a loud bang. Little Bean Sprout, come out and play soccer with me. Gu Yubei poked his head in while holding a soccer ball, his voice booming. Gu Huaiyan didn't even look up. His tone was flat. Get out. Gu Yubei pursed his lips, his gaze sweeping over Gu Huaiyan's hand resting on my draft paper. His eyes darted, and he deliberately said loudly, brother, you're much more patient with her than you are with me. After saying that, he made a funny face and slipped away. Gu Huaiyan remained expressionless, simply handing the pen back to me. Continue. Gu Tinglan, on the other hand, was the easiest to get along with. He kept an Angora long-haired rabbit named Snowball, a fluffy ball of fur, like a cloud. That afternoon, he was teaching me how to groom Snowball. Follow the direction of the fur. Gently, he demonstrated, his movements as tender as if handling a treasure. The sunlight cast a golden edge along his profile. It seems a bit shy around strangers, I whispered softly, not daring to speak too loudly. Don't worry, Snowball likes you. Gu Tinglan smiled, placing the comb into my hand. He then took my hand and guided it gently, saying, look, like this. His fingertips were warm and dry. Second brother. Wake up, Snow Rabbit is Wen Yan's exclusive pet, in the original plot. Tinglan's relationship with Xue Tu and Wen Yan was meant to deepen their bond. What's that all about? Gu Tinglan, your damn rabbit has pooped on my soccer field again. Gu Yubei's shouts grew louder as he approached. He held his precious soccer ball, looking thoroughly displeased. Gu Tinglan, with his good temper, picked up the bouncing snowball and held it in his arms, smiling as he said, "The soccer field is so big. Our snowball only takes up a tiny bit of space, right, Nianchu?" I nodded. Gu Yubei snorted, his eyes darting back and forth between me and Gu Tinglan. Suddenly, he threw the soccer ball onto the ground, and it rolled precisely to my feet. "Hey, little bean sprout, want to play soccer?" I instinctively took a step back. Gu Tinglan stood in front of me, his tone still gentle. "Yubei, don't scare the little sister." He turned to look at me but paused for a moment. "Nianchu, what happened to your hand?" Only then did I realize that while grooming earlier, my finger had been scratched by something, and a small bead of blood was seeping out. "It's nothing." Before I could finish, Gu Tinglan had already taken a cartoon band-aid from his pocket and carefully applied it for me. "Girls need to be more careful." His tone was gentle. Gu Yubei stood nearby with his arms crossed, watching Gu Tinglan apply a band-aid to me. Then he looked at me. Suddenly, he blurted out, "So delicate." Then he picked up the soccer ball, turned around, and walked away. Time flew by in the warmth of every passing moment. I finally integrated into this family, becoming the most cherished little daughter. Mr. Gu is serious, but occasionally he pats my head. Mrs. Gu is gentle, and I love being held in her arms while she gently pats my back. Gu Tinglan always gives me little trinkets, colorful candies, shiny hair clips. Gu Yubei still stubbornly insisted, complaining that I was too thin and too quiet, but when I truly became quiet and stopped bothering him, he awkwardly tossed a comic book over. "Here, read this if you're bored." The hardest to understand was Gu Huaiyan. His high school studies were getting busier, leaving early and returning late, so we didn't have many chances to meet. He always maintained that distant attitude toward me, but I noticed that the simple sandwiches I made in the morning would be quietly eaten by him. The homework I left in the living room and forgot to put away will be neatly placed back on the desk by the nanny. The attitude in the bullet comments also began to show subtle differences. How should I put it? This little mute is actually quite well behaved. The way she looks at Madame Gu is truly dependent. It doesn't seem fake. Sigh, after being bullied like that in the orphanage, what's wrong with wanting a better life now? The main thing is that Wen Yan is just too terrifying. I heard she, TSK, did something to the cat of the family that just adopted her. But Lin Yinchu stole someone else's life. Wen Yan is the true chosen one. Wen Yan, this name is like a thorn, always stuck in my heart. I know she won't disappear. The bullet comments often mention her too. They say she was adopted by a wealthy family and is doing well. But it's still far from the Gu family. I can't help but think of the look in her eyes when my mother took me away from the orphanage that day. A subconscious fear surged up. I closed my eyes and clenched my fists. "Don't be afraid. Lin Yanchu, your fate is now firmly in your own hands." Time flies, and Gu Yubei and I have entered our senior year of high school together. I have shed the thinness and timidity of my childhood, growing taller and my features becoming more defined. Though not strikingly beautiful, I am still clean and pleasant looking. I study hard and strive to integrate into this family. I work even harder to make myself worthy of the identity of the Gu family's youngest daughter. Gu Huaiyan has already taken over some of the company's affairs and is so busy that he is rarely seen. Gu Tinglan, with his exceptional musical talent and sunny appearance, has begun to make a name for himself in some small-scale performances, gaining his first group of fans. Before the college entrance exam, the school held a cultural performance. Gu Tinglan returned to the school as a special guest to perform. I sat in the front row of the audience. Gu Yubei claimed to have a basketball training match and slipped away secretly. Gu Tinglan was on stage singing and playing a song he wrote himself. The spotlight shone on him, making him look like a real, glowing little sun. The entire venue erupted in excitement. The performance ended with thunderous applause. Many students rushed forward to get autographs and take photos. Gu Tinglan smiled as he dealt with them, but his gaze was searching for me in the crowd. When he saw me, the corners of his eyes curved into a deeper arc. Just at that moment, a girl wearing a school uniform from another school walked onto the stage, holding a large bouquet of blue baby's breath. She was tall and slender, with long hair that reached her waist. Her face wore a bright yet slightly shy smile. The spotlight inadvertently swept across her face, very beautiful, with a strikingly aggressive and unforgettable brilliance. My heart sank heavily, the barrage went crazy. Holy crap, Wen Yan is here. She's here. The supporting female lead is still just a supporting female lead. When the main character arrives, this aura, this beauty, Yan Yan, I've finally waited for you to step on this imposter. In the original plot, the female lead used this bouquet of baby's breath to catch the second brother's attention. They say its flower language is love that willingly plays a supporting role, a total knockout. It was Wen Yan, even across the span of several years. I could still recognize those eyes. The innocence inside was disguised even better than before, but deep within, that icy, predatory gleam remained unchanged. She walked to the front and handed the flowers to Gu Tinglan. Her voice was clear and melodious. Senior Gu, your song was truly wonderful. This bouquet is for you. I hope you like it. Gu Tinglan was clearly a bit surprised. Out of politeness, he accepted the flowers and said with a smile, thank you. Wen Yan didn't linger any longer. After delivering the flowers, he turned around decisively and disappeared into the crowd. After the performance ended, Gu Tinglan greeted me and hurried back to school. I stood at the entrance of the auditorium, waiting for Gu Yubei to go home together. He said he would come to find me on time and told me to stay where I was, staring blankly into the void. I heard a voice with a sweet, sticky laugh. Lin Yanchu, is that really you? My body stiffened abruptly, and I slowly turned my head. Wen Yan crossed her arms, smiling as she looked at me. She has become even better at pretending than when she was a child, like a delicate, perfect doll. Damn, that look. The demon pill's true nature hasn't changed a bit. Lin Yanchu, you better run. I stood where I was, not moving, my fingers curled quietly, nails digging into my palms. Wen Yan walked over step by step, affectionately trying to take my hand. It's been a long time, Nianchu. I heard you've been doing well. How lucky. I quickly hid my hands behind my back, avoiding her touch. The smile on her face froze for a moment before growing even brighter. She leaned closer to me and lowered her voice. What's wrong? Feeling guilty for taking something that belongs to someone else. I raised my head and looked directly into her eyes. The fears from childhood still linger, but more than that, there is the courage nurtured by love over the years. Sister Wen Yan, I said softly, yet clearly, I don't understand what you're talking about. The adoption was Mom and Dad's decision. Mom and Dad, she sneered, her gaze sharp as a poisoned blade. How affectionately you call them. Lin Yanchu, what are you pretending for? A lapdog who would bark like a dog on the ground just for a bite of food. How dare you? My heart was pierced sharply, and those unbearable memories surged up. I don't recall such a thing. I forced myself to stand firm, keeping my voice as steady as possible. Forgotten. She leaned in closer, her smile sweet. The words were venomous. It's okay. I'll help you remember slowly. What belongs to me, I'll take back with my own hands. Nianchu, let's go. Gu Yubei's impatient voice cut in. He ran over. Holding a basketball, his face covered in sweat, he glanced at Wen Yan, then grabbed my wrist. What are you dawdling for? Mom's waiting. My footsteps followed Gu Yubei toward the school gate. Looking back, I saw Wen Yan still standing in the same spot. The perfect smile on her face vanished. Her gaze was as cold as a snake's, fixed intently on our clasped hands. Only after getting into the car did Gu Yubei speak, frowning. Who is that woman? Her stare is really unsettling. An older sister from the orphanage, from before, I whispered softly. Stay away from her. Gu Yubei clicked his tongue disapprovingly. She doesn't look like a good person. Third young master's intuition is spot on. Ha ha ha, she really isn't a good person. Warning, warning, the great demon king has locked onto the target. From that day on, Wen Yan's name began to appear frequently in our lives. Gu Tinglan mentioned when he came home. I ran into that junior who gave us the baby's breath again today. I think her name is Wen Yan. That's quite interesting. She said she also really likes music and asked me quite a few professional questions. Gu Yubei would occasionally run into her while playing basketball at school. She would bring a group of her girlfriends to cheer him on and bring him water, making quite a scene. It made Gu Yubei a bit annoyed, but he couldn't really show it. Even Gu Huaiyan, she did not let go. She somehow obtained an invitation to a business cocktail party that Gu Huaiyan was attending. She did not approach him directly as she had with the other Gu brothers. Instead, from a distance that was neither too far nor too close, she raised her glass to Gu Huaiyan, wearing a confident yet reserved smile. Gu Huaiyan remained as cold and unresponsive as ever, but the barrage of comments had already exploded. Big Brother has great self-control, but the demon pill's aura seems to be a bit of a match. A showdown between the strong seems pretty good too. I'm starting to get a little invested. Yes, that's exactly it. Yan taking the initiative, first win over Warm's second brother, and then conquering the sharp-tongued younger brother is just around the corner. The imposter must be panicking. What does she have? All she knows is how to act obedient and please others. The atmosphere at home has become somewhat delicate. Gu Yubei has started to occasionally mention Wen Yan. Although his tone is mostly critical, the frequency of his mentions is unusual in itself. Gu Tinglan would also hum the melody that Wen Yan had discussed with him that day while practicing the piano. Only Gu Huaiyan seemed unaffected. One evening during dinner, he calmly said in front of the whole family that Wen Yan has ill intentions. Keep your distance. Gu Yubei and Gu Tinglan were both taken aback for a moment. I looked at him, my eyes lighting up. The barrage also briefly fell into chaos. Big Brother is mighty, indeed. Big Brother's vision is sharp as ever, but soon, more bullet comments flooded the screen. Is Big Brother playing hard to get? It's definitely a tactic to grab attention, waiting for the Big Brother to experience the true fragrance law. I know, it's the original plot exerting its force. In the face of a powerful plot, all my efforts, the family affection I've carefully nurtured for 10 years, everything seems to become fragile. That day, I received an anonymous package. Inside was an old, somewhat dirty cloth rabbit doll. One of the rabbit's ears had been torn and was roughly stitched back together. There are still a few dark stains on the body, like dried blood. My breath suddenly stopped. This was the only thing that belonged to me when I was a child in the orphanage. It was the last toy my mother bought for me before she passed away. Later, it was snatched away by Wen Yan. When I saw it again, it was like this, torn apart and stained with the blood of some small animal. I don't know what. Along with the rabbit, a card was also sent. Printed on it was a line of text, returning what belongs to its rightful owner. Your things, I will take them back. One by one, the handwriting was delicate, yet it carried a chilling coldness. I looked at that tattered rabbit, and the fear and despair of my childhood washed over me like a tide. Those memories of being bullied and isolated, struggling in the cold and hunger, were as clear as if they had happened yesterday. I bit my lip hard, not letting myself cry out. I held the rabbit tightly in my arms. It still seems to carry the scent of my mother, mixed with the smell of blood and mildew. I know I can no longer run away. Wen Yan's revenge has only just begun, and I must not sit idly by. I picked up my phone and dialed Gu Huaiyan's number. The call was quickly answered, and Gu Huaiyan's cool, steady voice came through. Nianchu, what's the matter? I took a deep breath, trying hard to keep my voice from trembling. Big Brother, I said. You mentioned last time that Wen Yan has ill intentions. Could you tell me in detail why? There was a moment of silence on the other end of the phone, then Gu Huaiyan's voice came through, carrying a hint of barely noticeable approval. You finally asked. She approached the Gu family with too strong a purpose, Gu Huaiyan said. At the cocktail party, the way she looked at me wasn't admiration or a businesslike probe. It was an assessment, a weighing, like she was sizing up a person's worth. She tried to strike up a conversation with Chairman Liu, using information that was quite obscure, not the kind of thing someone her age and background would easily have access to. I had my assistant look into her current adoptive parents. Their family situation is decent, but far from reaching that level. A few bullet comments drifted by. Big Brother really is a big shot. His judgment is sharp. Are you even checking household registrations now? So when Yan's source of information is, the more you think about it, the more terrifying it becomes. My heart sank. Wen Yan's methods are deeper and more unscrupulous than I had imagined. As for Yubei and Tinglan, Gu Huaiyan continued, his tone tinged with a hint of helplessness. Her chance encounters and efforts to cater to their preferences have occurred with a frequency and precision that go beyond mere coincidence. She has studied them. This person is dangerous. Stay away from her. He arrived at this conclusion based on observation and factual judgment. I understand, Big Brother, I said softly, my throat tightening a little. Thank you, MHM, he responded. without any extra concern. He hung up the phone directly. Over the weekend, the Gu family held a small family party. It was to celebrate Gu Tinglan's signing with a well-known record company. Most of the attendees were relatives, friends, and Gu Tinglan's connections from the industry. I was wearing the little white dress my mom bought for me, helping to entertain the guests. Gu Yubei, for once, didn't pick a fight with me and even handed me a glass of juice. The party was in full swing when Wen Yan arrived. She hadn't been invited. She came in with one of Gu Tinglan's friends. She walked in on high heels, dressed to the nines. As soon as she entered, she greeted Gu Tinglan with familiarity and presented a congratulatory gift. It was a limited edition vinyl record. Then, she turned to me with a flawless, sweet smile. Nianchu, I often hear Senior Gu mention you, saying you're so well-behaved and sensible. Her tone was flawless, but her eyes were like poison needles. I maintained a calm exterior, not uttering a word. She took a step closer and whispered quickly in my ear, little mute, scared. My pupils suddenly contracted, and I furrowed my brows. She straightened up, still wearing that harmless smile, then turned and blended into the crowd. The party reached its climax, with Gu Tinglan being urged to perform. He picked up the guitar and sang a cheerful song. Amidst the music, Wen Yan walked toward me with a glass of red wine in hand. Just as we were about to pass each other, her foot caught on something. The entire glass of red wine splashed precisely and unreservedly onto the chest of my gown. The glaring red quickly spread into a large stain on the dress. The surroundings instantly fell silent, with everyone's eyes focused on us. Wen Yan covered her mouth, tears immediately welling up in her eyes. I'm sorry, Nianchu, I didn't mean to, but why did you stick your leg out to trip me? She looked so panicked, so innocent, and because of the special material of my dress, the color of my underwear inside was gradually becoming visible. I instinctively covered my chest. Gu Huaiyan strode over, took off his coat, and draped it over me. Gu Tinglan stopped playing and frowned. Gu Yubei also looked over. Mom hurried over and asked me, what's wrong? Wen Yan spoke before I could, tears streaming down her face. Auntie, I'm sorry, I got Nianchu's dress dirty. I really didn't mean to. She looked at Gu Tinglan and Gu Yubei for help. The two Gu seniors can testify. I have indeed gotten along better with them, which made Nianchu feel like I was stealing her brothers, and she's been holding a grudge against me. She successfully captured everyone's attention, placing oneself in the position of the weak and the unintentional wrongdoer. I stood there, my dress clinging to me, soaked and icy cold. Yan Yan did a great job. She tried to act like a white lotus, but now her true colors are exposed. Right, let's see how you handle this. Mom Gu, quickly see through this scheming woman's true colors. Second brother, third brother, quickly feel sorry for Yan Yan. She's so pitiful. A surge of immense humiliation and anger welled up in her heart. Years of accumulated fear and grievances were on the verge of shattering her composure at this moment. I bit my lower lip hard, refusing to let the tears fall. Don't cry. If you cry, you lose. If you cry, it's exactly what she wants. Gu Huaiyan stood by my side, his entire aura cold as ice. He was about to speak when I gently pressed his arm. I took a deep breath. I raised my eyes and looked at Wen Yan. It's okay. I know you didn't mean to. I spoke slowly, word by word, looking into her eyes, just like when we were kids. You didn't mean to wet my blanket. You didn't mean to take my food. And you didn't mean to leave these scars on my arm. I slowly rolled up the sleeve of my dress. Years have passed, and those old scratches and bruises have long since faded away, but upon closer inspection, one can still see some faint white marks. The entire venue erupted in an uproar. The color drained completely from Wen Yan's face in an instant. She looked at me in disbelief, as if truly seeing me for the first time. Mom's expression completely changed. Her gaze toward Wen Yan turned cold. Gu Tinglan and Gu Yubei were also stunned. They looked at me, then at Wen Yan, their expressions complicated. The barrage froze, then descended into chaos. She said it. She actually said it. Holy shit, the cannon fodder supporting character is fighting back. I suddenly feel a bit sorry for Li Nianchu. What should I do? I rolled down my sleeves, no longer looking at Wen Yan's distorted face, turning to my mother, my voice trembling with suppressed emotion. Mom, I'm going upstairs to change my clothes. I turned around, straightened my back, and walked up the stairs step by step. Returning to my room, I locked the door. I slid down to the floor with my back against the door. It felt as if all the strength in my body had been drained. Faint noises drifted up from downstairs, followed by the sound of a car engine starting and driving away. When Yen was probably taken away, my heart was still pounding wildly, and my hands were trembling. I had actually exposed that deepest scar in front of everyone. The barrage is still flickering before my eyes, but the wind seems to be shifting even more chaotically. Holy shit, that last part was epic. The little mute actually bit someone. When Yan's expression, ha, looks like he's been put in his place. But is it really a good idea to tear things apart like this? When Yen does have the protagonist's halo, after all, it seems Auntie Gu is angry. Could she think Li Nianchu is being too aggressive? Are you stupid? If you're bullied like that and don't fight back, I support Li Nianchu. A soft knock came from outside the door, followed by Mom's gentle yet concerned voice. Nianchu, are you okay? Do you need Mom to come in? I took a deep breath, trying to keep my voice steady. No need, Mom. I'll come down as soon as I change. By the time I changed into casual clothes and went downstairs, the party was nearly over. Most of the guests had already left. The atmosphere was subtly tense. Gu Tinglan was the first to approach, a hint of guilt in his eyes. Nianchu, I'm sorry, I didn't know she. He paused, seemingly at a loss for words to describe Wen Yen. I didn't know she was that kind of person. Gu Yubei stood awkwardly at a distance, giving me a complicated glance. For once, he didn't make a sarcastic remark, just muttered. That woman really is annoying. Dad patted my shoulder, his eyes clearly showing his protectiveness. As for Gu Huaiyan, he stood by the window and glanced at me from afar. His gaze was deep and unfathomable, yet it inexplicably made me feel at ease. My life remained quiet for a few days, but the narrative pull belonging to Wen Yen doesn't seem so easy to shake off. 1 week later, Gu Tinglan told me with some irritation that he had turned down several invitations Wen Yen had sent through friends. But Wen Yen seemed not to care at all, still able to appear around his activities in various unexpected ways, offering just the right amount of care or small gifts that showcase musical taste. Bullet comments call it the female lead's omnipresent halo. What's even more alarming to me is Gu Yubei's side. His basketball team with friends made it to the city finals. On the day of the finals, our whole family went to cheer them on. The atmosphere in the arena was electric. And Gu Yubei performed exceptionally well. He caused continuous screams from the stands. During the halftime break, a familiar figure, holding water and a towel, walked straight toward Gu Yubei, who was drenched in sweat. It was Wen Yen. She was wearing the opposing school's cheerleading uniform, her smile bright and natural. Gu Yubei, go for it. That three-pointer you just made was so cool. Her voice cut through the noise, coming through clearly. Gu Yubei visibly paused for a moment. Frowning as he looked at her, he didn't take the water she offered. The barrage instantly climaxes. Here it comes. The classic stadium water delivery scene is finally here, albeit a bit late. Yen looks so beautiful even in the opponent's support jersey. This is called strategic deception. Oh no, I feel like the sharp-tongued little brother is about to crack. I saw a flicker of discomfort cross Gu Yubei's face. There was even a faint hint of youthful shyness. Although he quickly turned his head away awkwardly, but that momentary hesitation was still caught by me. When Yen did not press further, after offering water and encouragement, she turned and walked away with ease, leaving behind a figure that invites endless imagination. In the second half, Gu Yubei played even more fiercely, as if he were venting his anger on someone. When the game ended, Gu Yubei's team emerged victorious. He was lifted into the air by his teammates in celebration. A look of pure joy on his face, yet my gaze instinctively swept through the crowd, as if searching for something. My heart sank little by little. I knew that Wen Yen was using her own methods to gradually pull the original plot back on track. Having hit a wall with Gu Tinglan, she turned her focus to Gu Yubei, who was more easily provoked and caught the eye. On the way home, Gu Yubei was unusually quiet. He didn't complain about his opponents or boast about his achievements as he usually did. That night, as I passed by his slightly ajar door, I heard him talking on the phone inside. The tone carried a hint of impatience, along with a touch of barely noticeable pride. She's just okay, annoying, always showing up, playing basketball, it's alright, just average at best. On the other end of the phone, it was most likely him discussing the unexpected appearance of Wen Yen with his friends. The intensity of the plot left me feeling suffocated. Just then, my phone rang. It was a message from Gu Huaiyan, brief and to the point. Come to the study. My heart tightened, feeling a sense of guilt as if I had been called out by the homeroom teacher. In the study, Gu Huaiyan sat behind the desk, the computer screen glowing faintly. He motioned for me to sit down, then slid a tablet over. On it were several photos. It was a scene of Wen Yan talking with a few streetwise-looking young men at the entrance of a bar. The time was just a few days ago. Wen Yan's adoptive parents come from a decent family background, but they can't control her. Gu Huaiyan's voice carried no warmth. She has been associating with a rather diverse group of people in private. Recently, it seems she has been inquiring about matters near Yubei's school. I suddenly looked up, my heart tightening. What does she want to do to Yubei? Uncertain, Gu Huaiyan looked at me, his gaze sharp. But her target is quite clear, the Gu family, or rather, someone who can stir up the Gu family, giving her an opportunity to take advantage. He paused. Yubei is simple-minded and easily manipulated by others. Big brother, my throat felt dry. What should we do? It was the first time I had shown such direct helplessness in front of him. Gu Huaijing quietly looked at me for a few seconds. Just be yourself. The Gu family is not a place for an outsider to stir up trouble. On a weekend evening, Gu Yubei and his friends had plans to go to the newly opened arcade. Before heading out, he confidently vowed to break a certain game's record, but by around 11 p.m., he still hadn't returned, and his phone was unreachable. Mom was starting to get a little anxious. Gu Tinglan tried to contact Gu Yubei's friends. He was told that they had already parted ways. Gu Yubei said he still had some things to take care of and would be home later. A sense of foreboding seized me, almost simultaneously. My phone received a text message from an unfamiliar number. Want to know where Gu Yubei is? Come alone to the back alley of the Blue Note bar in the old district. Don't tell anyone, unless you want him to be on the headlines of social news tomorrow. It was Wen Yan. The barrage scrolled frantically. High energy alert. The famous original scene of the hero saving the beauty. Oh wait, it's the beauty saving the coward. Damn, Wen Yan is playing it this big, directly kidnapping someone. This is forcing Nianchu to go alone. It's dangerous. Hurry and tell the big brother not to go alone. Tell Gu Huaiyan. I gripped my phone, my fingertips turning white, but the message said I had to go alone. Wen Yan is just a madwoman. I have no idea what she has planned, but I dare not risk Gu Yubei's safety, and a secret thought rises in my heart. This is an opportunity to break the original plot and let Gu Yubei see Wen Yan's true face clearly. I took a deep breath and replied, wait for me. Then, I picked up my phone and keys. After making up an excuse to my mom, I rushed out of the house. The moment I stepped out, I quietly pressed the preset emergency contact shortcut on my phone. Gu Huaiyan. The old district was dimly lit, and the back alley of the Blue Note bar was particularly dirty and remote. It was filled with the sour, foul smell of smoke, alcohol, and garbage. I walked to the entrance of the alley and saw faint figures inside. Gu Yubei was leaning against the wall, sitting with his head down, seemingly not fully conscious. Wen Yan stood in front of him, her back turned to me. Two men who clearly didn't look like good people were standing nearby, smoking cigarettes. Well, you got here pretty fast. Wen Yan heard the footsteps and turned around. A cold, malicious smile spread across her face. Our little mute still cares a lot about this brother. Huh? She approached me step by step. Look, this is the price you pay for stealing my life. Do you think the Gu family is a good place? It's just another gilded cage. Today, I'll let you and the family you care about taste the bitterness of ruin. She gestured to the man beside her, who took out his phone, seemingly ready to start recording. What do you want to do? I forced myself to stay calm, but my voice trembled uncontrollably. What do I want to do? Wen Yan chuckled lightly. Of course, to capture something interesting. The young master of the Gu family, drunk late at night, entangled with his always well-behaved adopted sister in the back alley of a bar. How about that title? Guess what? After such a scandal spreads about the prestigious Gu family, do you think they'll still want you? Her words slithered into my ears like a venomous snake. She not only wanted to hurt Gu Yubei, but also to completely destroy my standing in the Gu family. At that moment, Gu Yubei, who had been keeping his head down, suddenly moved. He muttered a curse. Get lost. He was still conscious, just drugged, no strength left. Wen Yan's expression changed slightly, giving a meaningful look to the two men. I can't wait any longer. I don't know where the courage came from, but as the two men approached me, I suddenly charged toward Wen Yan, pushing her forcefully towards the pile of miscellaneous items nearby. "Guyube, wake up," I shouted loudly. Then, I quickly lowered my head and reported the specific location into my phone. Everything happened too fast. Wen Yan didn't expect me to strike directly, screaming as she fell. The two men were also stunned by the sudden chaos, just as they snapped out of it, their faces turning fierce as they were about to lunge at me. Urgent footsteps and a cold shout came from the mouth of the alley. "Stop!" The beam of the car's headlights suddenly swept in. It illuminated the dark alley, as well as Gu Huayan's face, cold as frost. Behind him, there were also two men dressed in black suits, resembling bodyguards. Gu Huayan arrived faster than I had imagined. When he saw the scene in the alley, his eyes instantly darkened with a terrifying intensity. He didn't spare a second glance at Wen Yan or the two thugs. His gaze locking directly on me and Gu Yubei. "Big brother," I breathed a sigh of relief. My legs went weak, and I almost collapsed to the ground. Gu Huayan quickly walked over, first checking on Gu Yubei's condition. He confirmed that he had only been drugged and was otherwise fine for now. Then he supported my arm, his voice still steady, but with a hint of tense fear. "Are you okay?" I shook my head, unable to speak, seeing the situation turn against them. The two thugs tried to run but were easily subdued by the bodyguards Gu Huayan had brought. When Yan got up from the ground, her hair disheveled and her makeup smudged, she looked at Gu Huayan, her eyes filled with resentment and a maddening hatred. "Why, Gu Huayan, everything Li Nianchu has now should have been mine." Gu Huayan didn't waste words on her, only giving an order to the bodyguard, "Get him under control and call the police." Then, he pulled Gu Yubei, who was still a bit dazed, to his feet, with his other hand still firmly supporting me. His voice was low. "Let's go home." Returning home, it naturally caused quite a stir. After being examined by the family doctor, Gu Yubei was confirmed to be fine, and the effects of the medication would simply wear off. My mother held me in her arms, tears streaming uncontrollably. "Silly child, how could you dare to go alone? If something had happened, what would I have done?" Dad stood silently to the side, his large hand pressing heavily on my shoulder. Gu Tinglan poured me a glass of hot water, his eyes filled with guilt. "It's all my fault. If I hadn't let the wolf in." I shook my head, wanting to say something, but felt as if all my strength had been drained. Only the exhaustion of surviving the disaster remained. That night, I fell asleep under my mother's gentle comfort, but my rest was far from peaceful. In my dreams, Wen Yan's malicious eyes and the dark alley kept reappearing. The next morning, I was awakened by the chirping of birds outside the window. The barrage was eerily quiet, with only a few scattered comments drifting by. "Is it over? Is Wen Yan really gone?" Though ruthless, it must be said, she truly lives up to being the demon pill. So, has the cannon fodder supporting character completely changed her fate? When I went downstairs, Gu Yubei was already sitting at the dining table. He lowered his head, unconsciously stirring the porridge in his bowl with a spoon. Hearing my footsteps, he suddenly looked up, with obvious dark circles under his eyes. Our eyes met, and the atmosphere was slightly awkward. He opened his mouth, as if wanting to say something, then awkwardly swallowed it back. In the end, he only managed to squeeze out a stiff, "Morning, morning," I responded softly, sitting down across from him. Auntie served us porridge, the atmosphere still somewhat heavy. It wasn't until Gu Huayan returned from outside, bringing with him the chill of the early morning. "It's pretty much taken care of," he said to us. When Yan confessed to what she did to her, attributing her motives to jealousy and revenge. The two individuals she contacted are idle members of society who do things for money. The evidence is conclusive, and they will face the legal sanctions they deserve. Mom breathed a sigh of relief and said repeatedly, "That's good." Gu Huayan's gaze turned to me and Gu Yubei. "I've already taken care of your leave from school. Rest at home today." At that moment, Gu Yubei suddenly stood up, the chair legs scraping against the floor with a harsh sound. He seemed to have made a great determination. Facing me, his voice somewhat hoarse from restraint. "Li Nianchu, I'm sorry, and, thank you." He raised his head, his eyes no longer carrying the usual defiance. There was a bit more guilt and unease in them. "I've said a lot of foolish things before. It was my stupidity, not being able to tell good people from bad. I almost dragged you down with me." His voice choked up, unable to continue. I was stunned. I never expected this stubborn and awkward young man to apologize so earnestly. The barrage instantly became lively. "Ah, the third young master has grown up. This apology I can accept, even as a child. The best actor was a promising seedling who knew how to correct his mistakes. Ugh, why am I feeling a bit moved? The sincerity of a stubborn person is the most deadly. It's okay, I said, looking at him sincerely. You're my brother. Gu Yubei's body trembled slightly as he straightened up, his eyes growing even redder. He turned around abruptly and said gruffly, I'm full. Then he almost ran upstairs. In the afternoon, the sunlight was just right. Gu Tinglan held his guitar and sat on the swing in the garden, fingers gently plucked the strings, humming a soft melody. He saw me and waved with a smile, beckoning me over. Nianchu, come here. He shifted to make room, letting me sit beside him. I wrote a new song. He smiled, called, Missing the Beginning. It's for my bravest little sister. The gentle sound of the guitar flowed out, his voice crystal clear. I listened quietly, the corners of my mouth lifting involuntarily. Second brother is an angel. This song is so heartwarming. The romanticism of a musical genius is truly irresistible, absolutely irresistible. The song came to an end. Gu Tinglan gently ruffled my hair. Whenever you encounter any problems in the future, you must tell your brother. Okay, we are family. I nodded vigorously, my eyes growing slightly warm. Evening, after much hesitation, I still knocked on the door of Gu Huayan's study. Come in. He was facing the computer, handling emails. Seeing me enter, he closed the laptop. Something wrong? I stood at the desk, feeling a bit uneasy. Big brother, thank you. If you hadn't arrived in time yesterday, I received your emergency call, he said calmly. From now on, no matter what happens, notify me immediately. Your safety comes first. I nodded. Gu Huayan walked up to me, just like he did 10 years ago when he tutored me. He leaned in slightly, his gaze level with mine. This long-lost gesture instantly brought tears to my eyes. Nianchu, I haven't said it yet, but welcome home, he said softly, his tone more gentle than ever before. From now on, you don't have to be so cautious anymore. You are the daughter of the Gu family, my sister, Gu Huayan. At this moment, all my unease and pretense finally fell away completely. Tears surged forth uncontrollably. The barrage of comments reached an unprecedented density at this instant. Then, it began to gradually turn transparent and dissipate. The highest honor is the eldest brother's approval. Tears are flowing. This is what true family is like. The story of the cannon fodder female supporting character's successful counterattack has been completely rewritten. Goodbye, Nianchu. May you always be happy. The last bullet comment vanished into the air. My vision returned to complete clarity. A few days later, a piece of news quietly spread within the circle. Wen Yan was suspected of multiple charges, including intentional injury and incitement to commit a crime. Given the severity of the circumstances and the fact that she is an adult, she will be formally prosecuted. Her originally well-off adoptive family also had their reputation tarnished by this incident. They quickly distanced themselves from her and moved away from the city. On the eve of the college entrance exam, the Gu family held a warm family dinner. No outsiders, just the 6 of us, at the dinner table. Gu Yubei surprisingly didn't pick on me. Instead, he placed one of his favorite cola chicken wings into my bowl. He said awkwardly, eat more, you'll need strength for the exam. Gu Tinglan smiled and gave me a custom-made good luck charm. Mom gently reminded me to relax. Dad gave me an encouraging look. Gu Huayan spoke last. Just perform as you normally would. The Gu family will always be your support. I looked at them and gave a big smile. That summer after the college entrance exams ended, the sunlight was exceptionally brilliant. I received an acceptance letter from a top university in the country. I chose the major I liked. Although Gu Yubei said it was troublesome, he still helped me move my luggage into the university dormitory together with Gu Tinglan. When leaving the dormitory building, Gu Yubei walked at the forefront, the setting sun casting a golden glow around his silhouette. He suddenly stopped in his tracks, turned to look at me, his face wearing its usual bold smile. Hey, Li Nianchu, remember to come home this weekend. Mom said she'll make soup for you. Gu Tinglan stood nearby, smiling gently. In the distance, Gu Huayan's car was quietly parked by the roadside. He rolled down the car window and was looking in our direction. I quickened my pace to catch up with them and responded loudly. Got it. A gentle breeze brushed against my cheeks, carrying the scent of late summer grass. I know the road ahead is long, but it is filled with light. The little girl who trembled in the orphanage, watching bullet comments predict her tragic fate, has grown up. She was once swept away by the torrent of fate. and she also fought with all her might to grasp the life-saving driftwood. She stole moments of warmth and faced the storm head-on. Now, Lin Yanchu stands under the sunlight, with family behind her and purpose in her heart. She was no longer afraid of the past and had the courage to face the future. The end. Next is the second story. The second month my roommate used my photo for online dating. I saw the rolling barrage at the edge of the sky. The female lead has already rejected the male lead's invitation to meet 3 times. There's no other way. The female lead used her roommate's photo to have an online relationship with the male lead. Being plain-looking and insecure, she doesn't dare to take the step of meeting offline. Don't worry, female lead. As long as you meet the male lead and explain the real situation, he will forgive you, and then it's all sweet romance for the rest of the book. Friendly reminder, the male lead is a rich and handsome second-generation heir. The barrage hasn't finished scrolling yet. My roommate poked half her head out from the top bunk, proudly showing off to me. Nanshi, my boyfriend just transferred me another sum of money. Ah, having such a wealthy and generous boyfriend, I'm really afraid you all might be jealous of me. I raised an eyebrow. Did you use my photo to talk? From now on, he is my boyfriend. The phone dangled in front of me. I clearly saw that it showed a transfer of 10,000 yuan, and noted, for my dear wife to order takeout. After confirming that I saw the specific transfer amount clearly, Lin Lei finally withdrew her show-off hand. She hurriedly clicked to claim it, and sent a voice message. Thank you, dear husband, for the treat. The barrage starts scrolling frantically again. Wow, the romance between the male and female leads is so easy to get hooked on, even though they haven't met in person yet. Their love is really sweet. The daily life of a domineering CEO and a scatterbrained college girl. It's been 2 months already. When are the male and female leads finally going to meet? Actually, the female lead doesn't need to worry too much about her appearance. Although the male lead was a bit confused at first, he quickly accepted the situation. Don't worry, the female lead is already on a diet, isn't she? She'll go meet him after losing another 10 pounds. Lose 10 pounds. I looked up at Lin Lei's back as she lay on the top bunk, snacking. 2 months ago, she suddenly had a whim and vowed in the dormitory that this time she would definitely succeed in losing weight. The first few days, Lin Lei hardly ate anything and went to the track every evening to run. She was so exhausted that she was panting heavily. Unfortunately, it only lasted for 3 short days. When I was starving to the point of feeling my chest sticking to my back at night, I finally couldn't resist the aroma of fried chicken and indulged in a hearty meal. The weight loss plan was declared a failure. In fact, due to overeating, my weight even rebounded by 3 pounds. Broke through the 150-pound mark. I changed into a white dress. The belt accentuated a slender waist, making the girl in the mirror look graceful and elegant. Then I casually asked, have you met your boyfriend yet? Some bullet comments are not quite agreeable. What's so great about a villainess to look at? Isn't it just that she's a bit prettier? Even though the female lead uses her photos to have an online relationship with the male lead, our male lead isn't just about looks. A person's inner qualities matter too. The barrage is scrolling densely. Only then did I realize that I was the villainess in a sweet romance novel. The female lead in the book used my photo to date the male lead. After meeting, the man was first surprised that the woman looked different from her photo, but soon accepted the reality, started a sweet romance. Even the male lead, to prove that he likes the female lead for her inner self rather than her appearance, took action to bring down my family's company. In the end of the story, penniless, I starved to death in the rented attic room. The love between the male and female leads has been tested and has become sweeter and more stable. No one cares about this stepping stone of theirs that got caught up in their love. But, since appearance doesn't matter, why doesn't Lin Lei post her own photos? The figure sitting on the upper bunk stiffened. Vague and evasive, although we haven't met, we've exchanged photos. After speaking, Lin Lei added warily, Nanshi, you're not jealous that I've landed such a wealthy boyfriend, are you? Ah, you're so much prettier than me and come from a better family, yet you haven't managed to date a rich boyfriend. What a shame. The tone was dripping with boastfulness. I tied up my beautiful hair in front of the mirror. How could I be jealous? If one day, you could bring your boyfriend out for all of us in the dorm to meet, that would be great. Lin Lei choked up and didn't respond. Instead, he gave me a once-over. A flicker of jealousy passed through. Nanshi, take a selfie and send it to me. Afraid I might refuse, he quickly added, I just want to keep a photo of our roommate. I readily agreed. Let's take it right away. After successfully sending the photo to her, Lin Lele curled up into a ball on the top bunk, decisively sent the photo to the person I was chatting with and asked, I just took a new selfie, does it look good? The phone notifications chimed incessantly, signaling the excitement of the person on the other end. Isn't it supposed to be about not judging by looks? I took one last glance at the bullet comments. Sigh, when will the female lead ever change her low self-esteem? She just sent the villainous selfie again. The male lead really doesn't care what you look like. You'll understand when you meet. I remember the later plot. The female supporting character found out about this and couldn't bear to hand over such a wealthy and handsome boyfriend to someone else. She even eagerly ran over to the male lead and said, I'm the girl in the photo. Guess what happened? The female supporting character jumped up and down, inserting herself between the male and female leads, consumed by jealousy and frustration, which only made their relationship even stronger. The male lead is the sole heir of the Fu group. How could he be so shallow as to only care about looks? Serves the malicious female supporting character right for being taught a lesson by the male lead in the end, starving to death in a rented apartment and becoming a stepping stone in their love story. I keenly extracted the key information from the barrage of comments. The heir to the Fu group, I've taken note, but it's not yet certain who will be whose stepping stone. It's Saturday today. No classes. Before leaving the dorm, Lin Lele casually asked, no classes again today. Where are you going? A faint smile curled at the corner of my mouth. I've met a nice guy these past few days. Going to see him. The Fu group's building isn't hard to find. On the way here, I've already found photos of Fu Xingji online, although there are only a few, and the resolution is extremely poor, yet it couldn't hide his sharp jawline and high, straight nose. Truly a wealthy and handsome second-generation heir. My fingers lightly traced over his smiling face, my knuckles gently tapping the table, a cup of coffee beside me almost gone cold. Right across from the cafe stood the Fu Corporation building. The barrage perspective seems to only revolve around Lin Lele. As for my whereabouts, they are completely unaware. At this moment, the barrage is buzzing with lively conversation. The male lead is so busy, yet he still finds time to chat with the female lead. I love this kind of doting romance. It's already evening. The male lead is going to have dinner, otherwise he could continue chatting with the female lead. Baby, please, meet soon. I can't wait any longer. I quickly perk up, staring intently at the entrance of the Fu group building. Many glamorous men and women poured out from inside, among the crowd. Fu Xingji's figure stood out particularly brightly. As soon as he appeared, girls began stealing glances at him. I have to say, Lin Lele has such good taste, helping me find such a great boyfriend. I quickly got up and left the coffee shop. Just as I was about to brush past the hurried Fu Xingji, I deliberately bumped into his shoulder. I lost control and began to fall toward the ground. Fu Xingji instinctively reached out and wrapped his arm around my slender waist. Eyes meet. He suddenly exclaimed in surprise, "It's you." I quickly steadied myself, broke free from his embrace, blushed slightly, and lowered my head. "I'm sorry, I'm in a hurry, so I was walking a bit too fast. Did I hurt you?" The words were sincere. His eyes appropriately showed panic and concern. There were no other emotions. I don't know him. This realization made Fu Xingji pause for a moment, but he quickly found a reason. He had only sent me a few photos, and they were all taken from a distance. It's only natural not to recognize him when suddenly meeting him in person, but he remembered what I looked like, since they met on a chat app and privately added each other on WeChat. Optimist often sent him selfies. In those photos, the girl smiled like a flower, her slender figure wrapped in very gentle dresses of various styles. It sets off the whole person's temperament as elegant as an orchid. It's just a pity. He privately proposed to meet 3 times. The optimist refused without hesitation. He even asked which university she attended, but optimist refused to tell him. Countless nights, he could only soothe his longing by flipping through photos. He never expected that fate would be so kind to him. It actually allowed him to meet the person he had been dreaming of in real life. Seeing the undisguised admiration in Fu Xingji's eyes, I concealed the smile at the corner of my mouth, feigning urgency. "Hello, sir. I just finished my part-time job and need to rush back to Jibei University. If I don't leave now, I'll miss the last bus." After speaking, without waiting for Fu Xingji to respond, I turned and stepped into the gradually darkening night. Fu Xingji wanted to reach out and grab me, but only grasped at empty air. His gaze fell upon my receding figure. He kept repeating a few words in his mouth. Jibei University. By the time I returned to the dormitory, the sky was already filled with countless stars. The barrage once again started shipping the sweet romance. Wow! The male lead is especially enthusiastic today, chatting nonstop with the female lead baby. Yeah, and he keeps asking if the female lead baby is tired. What he doesn't know is that our Lele has been lying in bed all day, hardly getting up at all. He just transferred 10,000 yuan during the day, and now he's sending another 10,000, saying he's afraid the female lead baby might get tired. The male lead is really too rich. Just as I pushed the door open and entered, Lin Lele was climbing down from the upper bunk. Seeing me return, she raised her voice slightly, half complaining and half bragging. Why is he sending me money again? When will I ever be able to spend all this money? Nanchi, you're back. Come help me choose. Which LV bag style should I buy? As Lin Lele said these words, she stared straight into my eyes, trying to find a hint of jealousy, but there was nothing. I enthusiastically pointed out the carryall style to her. Choose this one. It's a classic style and goes with everything. Lin Lele nodded with satisfaction, placing the order while casually asking, Nanchi, how was the guy you met today? I replied unhurriedly, not bad, not bad. She curled her lips, glancing at my empty hands. He didn't even bother to buy you a gift. Do you really want to keep in touch with someone so stingy? My boyfriend is much better. He never hesitates to transfer money. Ever since we started university, Lin Lele has had her eyes on me from the very first glance. She was determined to compete with me and prove herself superior, comparing academics, looks, and family backgrounds. I lost on all fronts, so she turned her attention to chat apps, hoping to snag a wealthy husband and completely crush me in the boyfriend department. Successfully talked about Fu Xingji. It completely gave her a chance to hold her head high. After showing off, Lin Lele returned to the top bunk, her eyes fixed on the phone screen, typing away with great interest. Li Xia from the same dorm came over and tugged at my arm, rolled her eyes at the laughing and joking figure, then lowered her voice. Don't pay any attention to Lin Lele. Ever since she started dating a rich boyfriend, she's been showing off in front of us every day. I'm so sick of it. Nanchi, how was the guy you met? Are you going to see him again tomorrow? Lin Lele turned a deaf ear, still coquettishly sending voice messages. My dear husband is the best. Love you, moi. A meaningful smile appeared at the corner of my mouth. Of course we'll meet tomorrow, otherwise, some people will be waiting anxiously. The next day, Sunday, no classes. I got all dressed up and headed out early in the morning. As soon as I stepped out of the school gate, I noticed a luxury car parked right at the entrance. It was Fu Xingji's car. Perhaps he was worried about being misunderstood by the few students passing by. Fu Xingji deliberately got out of the car to wait for me. His handsome appearance attracted countless people to glance over repeatedly. Upon seeing me, he waved from afar. I approached with confusion. He smiled and said, Yesterday I bumped into you, so today I wanted to make amends. So, can I give you a ride to your part-time job? Yesterday, it was clearly me who bumped into him. Yet Fu Xingji insisted on taking the blame onto himself. Using this lame excuse to strike up a conversation with me again, I hesitated. There's no need, I can just take the bus myself. Fu Xingji had already opened the passenger door for me. It's fine, I'll give you a ride. The place where you work part-time isn't far from my company, so it's on the way. I hesitated for a moment. I awkwardly got into his car. Fu Xingji seemed to be in a good mood. Holding the steering wheel with one hand, a slight look of confusion appeared on his face. The academic workload at Jibei University is quite intense. Why are you taking on a part-time job on the weekend? I tilted my head and smiled playfully. My family wants me to learn self-reliance, so they don't give me a lot of living expenses. That's why I want to take on some part-time work to supplement my income. Fu Xingji's face showed even more confusion. He probably doesn't understand. Just yesterday alone, he transferred me 20,000 yuan. How could I possibly not have enough for living expenses? But he didn't ask. The car stopped in front of a coffee shop. This is the part-time job I just found yesterday. I nimbly slipped behind the service counter, grinding coffee beans under the clerk's direction. Fu Xingji did not leave. Instead, he sat at the table closest to me. Ordered an iced Americano. I smiled as I placed the coffee on the table. Fu Xingji suddenly asked, the one I gave you, ahem, aren't you wearing that vintage Alhambra necklace? I remember that necklace. The first week after Lin Lele announced she had a boyfriend in the dormitory, she received a luxury necklace. She couldn't put it down, turning it over and over to admire it, and sent a WeChat message in a sweet, coquettish voice, "Baby, I will definitely keep wearing it." The necklace was indeed securely hanging around her neck, but what does any of this have to do with me? I deliberately shook my head, pretending not to understand. What necklace? I've never had a necklace. Fu Xingji froze on the spot. A few drops of coffee splashed onto the back of his hand. He didn't notice at all. I turned around and continued to grind coffee beans at the service counter. The aroma of roasted coffee wafted from the coffee machine. A scorching gaze remained fixed on my back. Not shifting in the slightest, the coffee was downed in one gulp. I suddenly turned back and smiled lightly. "Sir, would you like a refill for your iced Americano?" Fu Xingji was caught off guard, his eyes darting away, stammering, refill." The coffee was refilled. Fu Xingji looked at me. Suddenly, I realized, my voice was different from the tone in WeChat. The girl before me has a voice that carries a touch more sweetness. Yet the voice that accompanies me in WeChat chats carries an extra layer of gloom. Their personalities also seem to differ. Comparing the two, the girl before me seemed even more bashful and shy than she did on WeChat. The work badge hung on my chest. Fu Xingji caught sight of it by chance, his voice suddenly rising a notch. "You're Shin Nanshi, that's not right, the one in WeChat, named Lin Lele." Fu Xingji quickly opened WeChat. Opened Lin Lele's moments, that's right. All the photos inside are of the girl right in front of me. Every smile and frown has long been etched in my mind, yet, they are also different in many ways. Personality, voice, even name. Just as I was hesitating, a message came through on WeChat. "Brother Fu, what are you doing? Another day of missing you." Fu Xingji's gaze turned to me once again. I didn't understand why, and was smiling as I stared at him. I didn't have my phone, so, who sent him the WeChat message? Fu Xingji's hands trembled violently. I asked with concern, "Sir, what's wrong with you?" Fu Xingji suppressed the suspicion in his heart. "It's nothing, I turned around and brought him a freshly made cappuccino. This is the coffee I just brewed. Please try it." "Sir, this one is on me." Fu Xingji took it, his fingers brushing against mine, hot as a burning coal. A brief touch, leaving a lingering desire. The coffee, like a thirst-quenching drink, was gulped down in one go. The bitterness was completely gone, replaced by the sweet taste of milk spreading in the mouth. He had already downed 3 cups of coffee today. His mind was wide awake. Seeing that I was about to leave, Fu Xingji caught up and took out his phone. "Miss Shen, may I have your contact information?" His gaze was intense. I hesitated slightly, then took out my phone and added him on WeChat. The male lead thoughtfully typed his name for me. Fu Xingji. Over the next week, Fu Xingji was quite active. He would always find topics to chat with me about on WeChat. We chatted about everything under the sun. Every time we ended our conversation, I always felt it wasn't enough. But as he said, the academic workload at Jibei University is really heavy. Messages sent in the morning, I only have time to reply to in the evening. He would catch my words the moment they were spoken, as if he had been waiting by his phone the whole time. This week, I've been quite busy, but Lin Lele, who lives in the bunk diagonally across from me, has become much more restless. She would frequently take out her phone and tap away at something. After the message was sent, there was no notification sound of a reply. The person grew increasingly anxious. Even the barrage comments were puzzled. What's up with the male lead these days? Why isn't he paying attention to the female lead? Baby, yeah, Lele sent him several WeChat messages, and he didn't reply to any of them. Even if he did reply, it was only to 1 or 2 of them. Oh, the male lead has such a big company to run. He has to make money for the female lead to spend. So how can he respond to everything right away? This situation continued until Saturday. It was the time for my part-time job, but I didn't leave the campus. I had a good, long sleep in bed, something I hadn't done in a while. At 10 in the morning, a message popped up on WeChat. Fu Xingji, Nanshi. Didn't you go to the coffee shop for your part-time job this morning? Me, I have a bit of a cold today, so I took leave early. Is there something you need, Mr. Fu? Fu Xingji paused his fingers on the phone, then, he hurriedly tried to cover it up. Nothing much. I was just passing by your school and thought I'd pick you up on the way to your part-time job. He was lying. He had waited all morning. yet he hadn't seen a trace of me. The Fu Group and Jibei University were located at the southern and northern ends of Jibei City, respectively. How could it possibly be on the way? I didn't reply to this message. Instead, I got up and tidied up a bit, then I took a selfie, a pitiful and listless expression, with the caption, "Caught a cold, feeling awful," the moment the post was shared on the social media feed. Li Qiao rubbed her drowsy eyes and asked in confusion, "Nanchi, do you have a cold?" I sniffled, "It's a little bit. But not too bad." Lin Lele, who was on the upper bunk, glanced at me upon hearing this, then quickly typed something on her phone. The barrage bursts into laughter. Haha, the female lead baby deliberately posted on her social media that she caught a cold. Now the male lead can probably take a break from his busy work, right? I feel so bad for the female lead. The male lead hasn't had time to chat with her all week. Let me recall. A month ago, the female lead baby said she sprained her ankle while running on the track. The male lead was so worried that he sent her a bunch of nutritional supplements and even transferred 10,000 yuan, telling her to rest and recover without worry. What a pity. The female lead left the address at the supermarket outside the school. In a moment, the same city delivery will bring a bunch of big and small packages, and she'll have to put in a lot of effort to carry them back to the dormitory. Looking forward to what the male lead will buy this time, thinking, JPG, Fu Xingji sat in the driver's seat. In front of him was the gate of Jibei University. On the phone, two identical posts appeared in the moments. Both were selfies of Nanchi. The captions were also exactly the same. I have a cold and feel terrible. Carefully compare these two WeChat accounts. The content inside is actually exactly the same, if it weren't for the differences in the WeChat profile pictures and names. He would have almost thought his eyes were playing tricks on him, but Fu Xingji quickly noticed something unusual. Updates on the social media feed. It's often the case that Shen Nanchi posts about 10 minutes earlier than Lin Lele. Take the last post about catching a cold, for example. Shen Nanchi posted it 5 minutes earlier. His fingers hovered over the two WeChat accounts for a moment. Fu Xingji's mind kept replaying the shy, gentle smile of the girl from the coffee shop. He decisively slid into Shen Nanchi's WeChat interface and sent a message. "Nanchi, I've asked someone in the same city to bring you some things. Could you please provide the address of the Jibei University dormitory building?" When the large and small packages were moved into the dormitory, Li Qiao was the first to rush over. "Wow, Nanchi, did your boyfriend buy these for you?" I quickly denied it. "He's not my boyfriend, just a friend I recently met." Li Qiao mysteriously stepped forward and linked arms with me. "Nanchi, last weekend, my best friend from the art department saw a luxury car waiting for you outside the school gate when she was leaving campus. She also said the guy was really handsome. Come clean, are you secretly dating someone behind our backs?" I recall Fu Xingji's handsome features and gentle demeanor. My face instantly flushed red. "We haven't confirmed anything yet. Don't talk nonsense, he's already come to pick you up." "Isn't that confirmation enough? My friend says that luxury car is worth at least 4 million. 4 million suddenly stimulated Lin Lele's nerves. She gave me a disdainful glance, snorted coldly, "Humph, no matter how rich, can they compare to my boyfriend?" Li Qiao's voice was neither too loud nor too soft. "Lele, we still haven't met your boyfriend yet." Lin Lele's hands suddenly stiffened. "Yeah, not to mention her roommates hadn't seen him. She herself had never seen it." At this thought, Lin Lele's heart suddenly skipped a beat. This week, Fu Xingji's attitude toward her had noticeably cooled. Not only did he reply to only 1 out of every 10 messages she sent on WeChat, even the message she pitifully sent him just now, "Brother Fu, I have a cold, I feel so terrible," has been 2 hours already. The last message on WeChat still remains on the green bubble. There was no response from the other side. Even if she was slow to react, she began to sense that something was off. Could it be that Fu Xingji was angry after being turned down for a meeting 3 times? Lin Lele's mood sank. Her fingers gripped the phone tightly. Her heart was tangled with countless worries. My WeChat on the phone chimed at just the right moment. "Fu Xingji, Nanchi, are you free this evening? I'd like to invite you to dinner." A faint smile curled at the corner of my lips as I replied, "Sure, Mr. Fu, you can make the arrangements. Then let's go to the newly opened French restaurant Chuchiter. See you there." Just finalized the meeting location. Suddenly, an explosive message flashed across the bullet comments. Look quickly, the female lead baby is finally planning to take the step of meeting in person. The barrage suddenly became dense, scrolling so densely that not a single gap could be seen. The long-awaited meeting is finally about to happen. The male lead doesn't even know how to be happy yet. He's probably grinning foolishly in his office right now. Spoiler alert. When they meet, the male lead is first surprised that she looks different from the photo, but the female lead tearfully confesses that she deceived him, and he ends up accepting it. Soon we'll be able to watch sweet romance. Dear female lead, please say yes to him. Look, the male lead's heart is about to break from waiting. After Lin Lele sent the message, her heart was pounding non-stop, almost jumping out of my throat. Fu Xingji had proposed meeting 3 times. And each time she had politely declined. This time, it was her who took the initiative to suggest it. On the WeChat interface, the chat box still held a message, "Brother Fu, let's meet." It felt like waiting for a verdict, or like a sharp blade hanging overhead was finally about to fall. After a long while, the other side finally replied with a single sentence, "Okay, let's meet at Chuchita restaurant tonight." Just a dry, straightforward sentence. Lin Lele stared at it for a long time, turning it over and over in her mind, making sure no second message had been sent. The barrage is equally disappointed. What's wrong with the male lead? Why has he become so cold? Hey, he must be so excited he's gone crazy. We can't see things from his perspective, but I bet the male lead is so thrilled he can't even hold his phone steady. After all, he's been begging for this meeting for a long time. There will be a surprise when they meet. The surprise is that the female lead isn't the same as in the photos. I can't wait to see the male lead's shocked yet helplessly doting expression. Sounds like a scare. Don't talk nonsense upstairs. They made a reservation at the French revolving restaurant, where you can overlook the night view of Jibei City while dining. How romantic. Wait, is the villainess also dating someone? I heard her discussing tonight's meeting with her roommate. Hey, no matter how much she talks, she can't compare to Fu Xingji's family background. Is that so? What if the boyfriend I'm talking about is the same as the female leads? The entire afternoon, Lin Lele was in a frenzy. She took out all the clothes from the wardrobe and tried each one on. Finally, she settled on a loose, figure-concealing trench coat. Standing in front of the mirror, she kept cheering herself on. Li Qiao couldn't help but sigh. You both have dates tonight, leaving just me and Fei Fei to keep the dorm company. Lin Lele shot me a disdainful glance. I'm going to the most upscale restaurant in the city, not some roadside food stall. Li Qiao rolled her eyes, leaning in close to me. Nancy, when you meet your potential boyfriend tonight, you must win him over. I blushed. Don't talk nonsense. There's nothing between us yet. Lin Lele stormed out, slamming the door behind her with an air of arrogance. About 10 minutes after she left, I also stepped out of the dormitory building. Tonight, the barrage of comments was scrolling with unusual density. When Lin Lele arrived at Chuchita restaurant by taxi, the barrage of comments was so dense that the original text was almost indistinguishable. She nervously straightened her clothes. At a glance, she spotted the tall and handsome figure at the entrance of the restaurant. It was exactly the same as in the photo, still holding a large bouquet of roses in hand. Lin Lele smiled, her eyes crinkling with joy. Although Fu Xingji had been quite distant lately, it was clear that he still had her in his heart. That bouquet of red roses is in full bloom, each flower plump and full, clearly of considerable value. The barrage comments also chimed in. The iconic scene is here. Come and watch quickly. After the female lead admits that she is the one he has been chatting with online, the male lead is first surprised, then quickly accepts the situation. The two successfully meet in person, and the rest of the time is just them being sweet together. Female lead, boldly go up and tell the male lead who you are. Fu Xingji was holding a bouquet of roses, looking around. His gaze swept past Lin Lele several times, then moved away without a ripple. Lin Lele mustered her courage, stepped forward, and stood in front of Fu Xingji, looking up with a shy expression. She said, "Brother Fu, I'm just an optimist." Fu Xingji was stunned. He had been standing there for a while, and his gaze had also caught sight of this ordinary girl. But he only regarded her as a passerby. Unexpectedly, she turned out to be the optimist who had been chatting with him for 2 months. Fu Xingji lowered his gaze to observe her again. She was slightly plump, and her appearance could barely be described as cute. He wasn't the type to judge people by their appearance, but, before this, he had fallen asleep countless times while scrolling through Nanshi's photos. I have also seen Nanchi's appearance with my own eyes. Throughout this week, I have chatted with Nanchi for quite a long time. I increasingly feel the differences between the two of us. Nanchi appears shy and reserved, but after chatting for a while, one can discover that she is very witty and humorous. Unconsciously, he no longer wanted to chat with the optimist, but instead poured his whole heart into Nanchi. Seeing that Fu Xingji had no reaction, Lin Lele nervously twisted her fingers, summoning her courage once again. Brother Fu, I'm really sorry. I've been using someone else's photos to deceive you all along, but my feelings for you are genuine. Can you forgive me? Fu Xingji remained motionless. His tightly furrowed brows betrayed the annoyance in his heart. If he had never met Nanchi in person, he might have reluctantly dealt with the girl before him, but now his mind is completely filled with Nanchi. The reason for meeting Optimist today was simply to clarify these matters in person. The barrage didn't notice Fu Xingji's reluctance. They were still shouting enthusiastically, "Hero, go for it. Forgive the heroine, baby. Hero, don't hesitate. Quickly put the roses into the heroine's arms. And then tell her affectionately that you don't care about appearances. By the way, we'll get to see some sweet moments tonight, right? Look, why is the villainess here too?" Through the crowd, Fu Xingji spotted me at a glance. He couldn't help but call out, "Nanchi." Lin Lele immediately went on high alert. Turning around, she stared at me intently. She even tried to block Fu Xingji's line of sight, not letting him see me. "Shen Nanchi, what are you doing here? Ha! Could it be that you found out I'm dating a wealthy boyfriend, so you eagerly chased after me trying to get a piece of the action?" The barrage of comments chimed in as well. "That's right, what's the villainess doing here meddling?" I remember a similar plot in the book. The male lead met the villainess later on, and although he was slightly impressed when he first saw her photo, he immediately forgot about her afterward. The supporting female character couldn't bear to let go of such an outstanding rich second generation, eagerly running up to say that the female lead had originally posted her own photo, and it should have been her with the male lead, only to be humiliated by the male lead in the end. "Hey, the supporting female character is about to become a clown. Relax. Just wait and see the male lead domineeringly protect his wife and declare his sovereignty." I pretended to be shocked as I looked at the two of them. Tears quickly welled up in the eyes. As if struck by a devastating blow, in disbelief, she raised a finger. You're actually Lele's boyfriend." Fu Xingji panicked and pushed Lin Lele away. "No, Nanchi, I only like you. I've never liked anyone else." Lin Lele's sharp voice cried out loudly. "Brother Fu, I admit the photos I sent you before were fake, but all this time, the person who has been chatting with you is me." She took out her phone. She pulled up the chat history to prove her identity. Fu Xingji didn't even think, pushing her hand away in disgust. "I've liked Nanchi from the very beginning. After meeting her, I like her even more. What does that have to do with you? I wanted to meet with you today just to make this matter clear to you." Lin Lele had never expected that the long-awaited meeting would turn out like this. She could only desperately defend herself. "No, the photo I sent you was fake. But my feelings for you are real." She didn't know how to explain. Even the barrage comments were completely dumbfounded. "Wait, how is this different from the original plot? Where's the promised sweet romance? How did it turn into a failed meetup? When did the supporting female character meet the male lead in private? Why does she always deliberately get in the way of the main couple? Hey, the supporting female character clearly knows nothing about it. How can you say she's doing it on purpose?" The bullet comments began to argue fiercely over this issue. I quietly suppressed the smile at the corner of my lips. My face is filled with a sorrowful, heartbroken expression. "Mr. Fu, since you already have a girlfriend, you shouldn't be fickle anymore. Let's just pretend we never knew each other." After saying that, I lowered my head. I hurried away. No matter how Fu Xingji shouted behind me, I didn't look back. I blocked Fu Xingji on WeChat. She blocked his phone number again. After returning to the dormitory, she buried herself under the covers. He called her countless times using different numbers. She hung up on every single one. The screen flickered on and off, much like Fu Xingji's heart, submerged in icy water, repeatedly tormented. 2 hours later, Lin Lele finally returned. She was utterly dejected. Upon seeing me, she couldn't help but burst out in anger. "Shen Nanchi, Brother Fu has broken up with me. Are you satisfied now?" Holding back my tears, I looked at her stubbornly. "I never knew he was your boyfriend. I haven't even met him myself. so how could I possibly know him? I just happened to run into him while working part-time at the coffee shop. However, I'm quite curious why he seemed to be smiling yet not smiling the first time he saw me, and insisted on getting close to me. Lin Lei suddenly changed her expression. Li Qiao chimed in. Clearly, it was you who used Nanxi's photo for online dating. So isn't it normal that your boyfriend couldn't help but approach her when he actually met Nanxi in person? If you had just posted your own photo in the first place, wouldn't that have been fine? The hidden matter was exposed. Lin Lei completely fell silent. She just glared at me with resentment. After climbing to the top bunk, I tossed and turned for half the night. I kept clutching my phone, sending messages non-stop. The next day was the weekend. I still had to work my part-time job at the coffee shop. I got up early and cleaned myself up. I used foundation to cover up the heavy dark circles under my eyes. As soon as I went downstairs, I found Fu Xingji waiting at the entrance of the dormitory. He seemed to have been waiting for a long time. There are quite a few red blood vessels in the eyes. At the first sight of me, his dim eyes suddenly lit up. Eyes meet. I quickly averted my gaze, then lowered my head and strode past him. Fu Xingji did not miss the redness in my eyes. As I passed by him, as expected, he reached out and grabbed my arm, voice hoarse. He said, Nanxi, I can explain to you, please don't block me, okay? I broke free from his grip, without looking into his eyes. Mr. Fu, I never intended to come between you and your girlfriend. Let's just pretend we never knew each other. I walked away quickly, leaving him with only a desolate silhouette. Fu Xingji's hand hung in midair, grasping nothing but empty air. Through the dormitory window, I clearly saw Lin Lei's face filled with jealousy and resentment, staring at me with furious eyes and gritted teeth. I breathed a sigh of relief with satisfaction. After leaving the school gate, I directly boarded the bus. The bus swayed and jolted its way toward the city's coffee shop. Behind it, a Maybach followed closely. Its sleek body made it hard not to notice. This is Fu Xingji's car. He has been following slowly behind me all along. Meanwhile, I calmly turned my gaze out the window, watching the barrage of comments in the sky. What's going on? Why isn't the male lead paying attention to the female lead anymore? She wrote a 1,000-word essay of repentance last night. Exactly, the female lead has already apologized. So why hasn't the male lead forgiven her? Weren't they supposed to look beyond appearances? Hiss, it doesn't seem to be about looks, does it? The female lead was the one who lied from the start, so isn't it only natural for the male lead to be angry? So annoying, the supporting female character had to show up at the restaurant yesterday. If it weren't for her, the male and female leads would probably have opened up and poured their hearts out to each other by now. I slowly averted my gaze. The barrage keeps saying that I am the clown jumping between them. So I'm not in it this time. Will they fall in love as in the original plot? I stood obediently at the service counter, grinding coffee beans non-stop. Fu Xingji sat in the spot closest to me, staring at me without blinking. He ordered a cappuccino. The steaming hot coffee was served. I resisted the urge to look into his eyes and turned to leave. In his haste to reach out and stop me, he accidentally knocked over the coffee. The back of the hand was scalded red. I was shocked. Mr. Fu, your hand. I pulled him to the faucet to rinse it off. He didn't mind the redness and swelling at all, but looked at me excitedly. Nanxi, you're finally willing to talk to me. I carefully applied the burn ointment for him. Even though we can't be together, we can still be friends, I said with melancholy. Fu Xingji hurriedly explained. Nanxi, Lin Lei initially used your photos to date me, so, from the very beginning, the person I was in love with was you, and there has never been anyone else. And I only like you. Fu Xingji practically shouted these words. His reaction was completely different from the original plot. In the original plot, he looked at me with disdain and said mockingly, what does it matter if Lei has your photo? What I like about her is who she is, never her appearance. Do you think telling me all this will make me like you? Stop daydreaming. I just arranged to meet him a few days earlier. Completely changed the plot, avoided her predetermined tragic fate. After the burn was treated, Fu Xingji looked at me with deep affection. Nanxi, will you be my girlfriend? Is that okay? I did not agree. Fu Xingji, on the other hand, became even more determined and began pursuing me relentlessly. He persistently added me back on WeChat. He kept transferring money to me, under the guise of correcting past mistakes. I saw the growing resentment in Lin Lei's eyes. Until the second week of Fu Xingji's high-profile pursuit of me, during the lunch break. Li Qiao was fiddling with her phone when she suddenly pointed at the school confession wall and exclaimed, "Nanqi, someone has posted about you on the wall, calling you a homewrecker. No wonder I've been getting pointed at and whispered about whenever I go out these past few days." I took out my phone and found the confession wall. My post about me was prominently pinned at the top, the other woman's intrusion. "Do you really like someone else's boyfriend that much?" The post detailed how I intervened in the relationship between Fu Xingji and Lin Leilei, and accompanied by my high-definition photo. Beneath the post, outraged netizens left comments one after another. "Isn't this Shen Nanqi from the Chinese department? Who would have thought? Usually so quiet, but secretly so wild. Hey, didn't you read the post? That Mr. Fu is a wealthy young master. So of course gold diggers would want to seize this chance to climb up, no matter how desperate you are. You can't steal someone else's boyfriend." The post's popularity skyrocketed, held the top spot for 2 days. The atmosphere in the dormitory was suffocatingly tense. I held up my phone and looked at Lin Leilei. "Is this the post you made?" The long-suppressed fire finally erupted completely. "Shen Nanqi, if it weren't for you, how could Fu Xingji have broken up with me? You shameless woman. You were just jealous that I found a rich boyfriend, so you went and seduced him." Lin Leilei's face twisted into a distorted shape right in front of me. I looked at her with amusement. "Is that so? Are you sure that's your boyfriend?" Lin Leilei was about to defend herself, but I discovered a new post on the confession wall. The content of the post was very simple. It was the initial conversation from when we first met on the chat app, sent to me by Fu Xingji. "Fu Xingji, can I see a photo of you?" After this sentence, the other party sent a photo, a lazy smile curling the corner of the mouth at the camera. It was a selfie. "It's me, Shen Nanqi, no mistake. The very beginning of the story is my photo. Who can still say that I inserted myself into someone else's relationship?" In just 2 days, the direction of the comments under the post completely reversed. Everyone rushed to the post published by Lin Leilei, accusing her of being jealous that I had found such a great boyfriend. She even went so far as to fabricate the fact that she was in a relationship with my boyfriend. In a panic, she posted 2 months' worth of chat records, but everyone just laughed at her. "Who knows who this guy is? I bet it's just you chatting with your own alt account." Unable to bear everyone's pointing and gossiping, 1 month before graduation, Lin Leilei chose to leave school early and step into society. In the original storyline, the female lead never experienced the hardships of society. She became the president's wife right after graduation, unfold a sweet romance with Fu Xingji. This time, there is no stepping stone like me standing between them. I wonder what kind of ending the male and female leads will have. Li Qiao came over and patted my shoulder. "Nanqi, that Mr. Fu is waiting for you downstairs again. Such an outstanding man, aren't you planning to accept his confession?" I looked out the window. Fu Xingji was eagerly waiting at the entrance of the dormitory, hoping to catch a glimpse of me. Agree to him. A cold smile curled at the corner of my mouth. What a domineering CEO who claims to only care about the heart and not the appearance. Deep down, he still prefers youthful and beautiful faces. Even if he likes me now, it's just a fleeting novelty. Rather than being a caged canary in a sweet romance novel, it's better to use his resources to climb higher. Graduation season arrived. In the original plot, Lin Leilei and Fu Xingji were passionately involved with each other. The male lead is trying to prove his love for the female lead. He has already started targeting my family's business. Now, the plot has taken a turn. Fu Xingji is trying to prove that he has loved only me from the very beginning, starting to take action against Lin Leilei, ensuring that no company accepts her resume. Even when she tries to rent an apartment, she encounters obstacles everywhere. He, like a victorious general, comes to me to claim credit. "Nanqi, from beginning to end, I have only ever loved you, never anyone else." No, he only loves himself. The long-absent barrage comments began scrolling once more. The female lead has fallen into such a state, and there's no chance with the male lead anymore. How can we keep watching this? It seems this book has changed the female lead. Previously, the perspective always followed Lin Leilei, but now it has shifted to Shen Nanqi. Rather than reading those sweet, doting wife stories, it's better to read a strong female lead novel. Look, Shen Nanqi still hasn't accepted the male lead's love. My gaze drifted away from the bullet comments. Of course, I wouldn't agree to be his girlfriend. Money and power are the most important things to hold in your hands. As for a man who only cares about looks, he would definitely be the first to leave me when my appearance fades. Since I have awakened to the plot, then the opportunities of the Fu family should be taken over by me. I sort out the plot through bullet comments. Our Shen family business is much smaller than the Fu family's. However, the Fu family is an old-fashioned enterprise, and its increasingly outdated products are completely unable to meet the current market demands. In the original plot, Fu Xingji seized the opportunity and successfully transformed the Fu family from an old-fashioned enterprise into a darling of the new era. Now, it should be my turn to stand at the forefront. I quickly mobilized my family, registered a new company ahead of others, and plunged headfirst into the new industry. The company expanded at an extremely fast pace, rapidly capturing the market. Meanwhile, the Fu family faced the challenge of transitioning from the old to the new, ended in complete failure. In just 3 years, the Fu family's business shrank by 80%, and I rarely paid attention to news about Fu Xingji, until the bullet comments once again scrolled across the sky. The male lead's halo in this book has vanished, leaving only Shen Nanshi as the female lead. What kind of male lead is Fu Xingji? The Fu family is almost bankrupt, with most of their assets sold off. How can he still be the male lead? Look, Fu Xingji has come to find Shen Nanshi. He's probably here to seek investment. The Fu family's capital chain has broken. If no investment is found soon, this colossal structure will soon come crashing down. As soon as Fu Xingji saw me, he eagerly grabbed my hand. Nanshi, I've always liked you. You invest in the Fu family, and then we get married. Okay, I sneered and broke free from his grasp. Have you forgotten, President Fu? The person chatting with you is Lin Lele. The one who should marry you should be her. Fu Xingji's expression froze in astonishment. Before being dragged away by security, he asked one last desperate question. If it had been you chatting with me from the very beginning, would we have ended up together? I laughed so hard I nearly doubled over, then I shook my head. From the very beginning, I didn't know how to talk to him. Fu Xingji's expression completely darkened. Outside the company, Lin Lele had been waiting for him for a long time. As soon as she saw him, she rushed forward and grabbed Fu Xingji's clothes. Refusing to let go, I am your girlfriend. The one who first chatted with you was clearly me. How dare you shift your affections and find someone else? It has been 3 years. The Fu family is on the verge of bankruptcy. Lin Lele is still dreaming of becoming the president's wife. Fu Xingji fiercely shook off her hand. A freak like you dreams of becoming my girlfriend. Why don't you go home and look in the mirror, see what you're really like? I've loved Nanshi from the very beginning. If you hadn't sent Nanshi's photo back then, I wouldn't have even spoken a single word to you. He finally spoke his mind. In response to him, Lin Lele let out a hysterical roar. Fu Xingji, you heartless man, you'll never be able to shake me off in this lifetime. I stood on the 22nd floor, peering down through the window. In the original plot, the male and female leads were madly in love. Now they are fighting to the death. On the day the company successfully went public, I saw the rolling barrage in the sky again. The stepping stone has successfully turned the tables. I declare that Shen Nanshi is the most worthy female lead for me to pursue. Look, the original male and female leads are together now. What's so interesting about a life full of trivial troubles? The bullet comments told me. The male and female leads are together. They had been entangled for 3 years, both physically and mentally exhausted, yet unable to break free. In the end, they miraculously ended up together, the bankrupt male lead, the resentful female lead, becoming a bitter couple in an unbelievable way. After the Fu family went bankrupt, they rented a place in a dilapidated urban village. They argued and cursed at each other every day. Fu Xingji resented the other party for deceiving him with photos. Lin Lele angrily scolded him for going bankrupt, shattering her dream of luxury. This messy life has kept the bullet comments endlessly and delightfully discussing. Amidst a pile of gossipy bullet comments, one of them suddenly caught my eye. Do you think Shen Nanshi can be a good female lead? I opened my mouth and told the barrage, as the female lead, I will never let you down.